Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
Hey, what's going on, car people? This is L.A. Williams, and I am here on the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast with my millionaire co-host, Mr. Sean V. Bradley. What's happening, Sean?
What's up, player from the Himalayas, my brother from another mother? It's on.
Yes, it is. It's actually on like more than Donkey Kong because, man, you can't even come up with an analogy to describe the guest that we have on today. I mean, he's the absolute best of the best automotive sales professionals. He's got the numbers to prove it. So without further ado, let me introduce our guest for today, Mr. Ali M. Reda. What's going on, Ali?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How you doing?
Thanks for being on the podcast.
Man,
we really appreciate it.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. I can't top that intro with you guys. You guys are awesome, man. I feel the energy. I love it.
Yeah, just for the record, don't forget when I talk to Ali is like the legitimate, real, live Bruce Wayne of this industry. That's what I'm just saying. He's the Batman of this stuff.
Oh my gosh, you told me that before, dude. I started blushing. I'm like, what? This guy's going crazy. He started yelling that out at Digital Dealer one time. I'm like, oh, that was awesome.
That is so good, but it's true.
Man. It is such a pleasure to be on with you guys. Sean, I think the world of you, man. You're absolutely wonderful at what you do, and you bring so much value to our industry. So it is an honor to be here.
Well, and it's an honor to have you. So, I mean, this is going to be hot. These people are ready to hear from the myth. Question for you, though. I was blown away, and I'm proud to say that I'm the one that made that first graphic on your December. I've never heard in my life of anybody selling 202 cars to be specific, in 1 month. Do you know if that's the record in a month or not?
Yeah, that's the record. The previous record was 173. So that was it.
So you officially have sold more cars in the country, in the world, since cars have been made. Is that correct?
Yeah, to my knowledge, that's it. There isn't anything that was more than that. The previous record was 173, and my previous record to that was 167. So I had gotten close to it, but never beat it until this December of 18.
Okay, so let's do some math, because LA is a good mathematician. I'm not. I need a calculator. LA, how many billions of people do you think have existed on planet Earth? Let's just use like what people agree with, because there's different discrepancies about when humans started like walking the Earth. But how many billions of people, or maybe trillions of people, do you think have lived and died since existence, approximately?
It's definitely a few trillion.
So okay, so think about that. So Ali, I want you to look at this, because when I talk to you, like, I am really like in awe, dude. Like, you are like a superhero, because out of the trillions of people in this world that have lived and died, there's very few people that have done something that they are the only one in the world to have ever done. Like, that's gotta like bug you out, dude. Like, that would bug me out. Like, I'd be touching myself like, am I real? Is this real? Like, bro, out of trillions of people. Now, in all fairness, cars haven't been around since, the trillions of people. But what my point being is that to be a human being and alive, you know what I mean? Like, just to make it, the sperm cell to make it, right? That's a big odds. Then to just go through life without an accident or dying early or prematurely, whatever, if I could be in front of you, I would do like, I'm not worthy. You know what I mean? Like, how do you feel about that, dude?
I don't, it's so funny because I don't really think about it that way. I just kind of just keep going, and I don't feel like I'm any different than any other salesman out there, or see myself differently. I'm definitely blessed to be able to have achieved those milestones, I guess, but I mean, it's duplicatable, man. It's not something that you got to have superhero status or some kind of powers or something. It's duplicatable. So a lot of people on here, man, it's just, you can do it. It's right process. It's believing in it. And I guess that's one thing that may separate me from a lot of people is I believe. So with my kids, because I believe in what's possible. I believe that I can attain any goal that I set, and I tell that to my kids, and I ask them because it's a running joke. So sometimes they'll kind of tease me, and they'll run around saying, I don't believe, like, joking just to kind of tease me, because I tease them so much with it. And I ask them that question all the time, and it's, we kind of, my kids are young, so we say that as a joke, but it's real, and I ask them, do you believe? And I make them answer me that question, and I want them to get to the point where they believe it in their heart that anything is possible.
Ali, I got to tell you, that's the first time I've ever heard anybody say that, and I concur. Me and Karen have actually trained our children. They've watched The Secret at least like 4 or 5 different times. We've discussed it. We've created vision boards in it about the whole laws of attraction, manifestation. We've had them read, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Kids, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. We explain to them, the lessons of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Human Being, people in general. We've taken them to the National Speakers Association, to the junior camp. There's so many points of what you just said. That is not just a nugget. That is a platinum diamond encrusted like boulder of just amazingness you just dropped to the podcast. Because if there are any parents that are listening here, that is where it starts, because the United States, and I guess the rest of the world, I personally believe, are financially illiterate, as well. They're ignorant on time maximization and finances and just possibilities. It is the responsibility of the parents to try to inspire and guide them that they're capable of greatness. And what you're doing, I commend you on, because not enough parents know to be able to train their kids like that, Ali. So hats off to you, brother.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. Yeah, that is so solid, and it's worked, and I truly believe it, man. You got to believe it yourself. So, December, I mean, I was, and the funny thing about December, man, I'll tell you guys a little story. I kind of felt that month, the beginning of the month, and a lot of people don't know this, but, right around, I think it was December 3rd, maybe it was a Monday. And, I knew we had some good programs that coming out. I knew I had to finish the year off strong. And I grabbed my team early in the morning that day. And my team is 2 assistants. I have an assistant that does administration. She does all my paperwork, and then I have a part-time, a personal porter, if you will, who parks cars, grab cars, walks a customer to the parking lot. Just does a little miscellaneous stuff that kind of keeps me in my office. So I grabbed them both and I said, listen, every day in December is December 31st. I go, every single day you come in here, it's the last day of the month. It's the last day of the year. And they looked at me, and I don't even know where it came from. It kind of just felt it. It was a feeling. And I believed that that's what I was going to carry throughout the whole month. And they looked at me like I was crazy, but hey, I said, this is it. I says, every single day we're going to treat it as the last day. So what does that mean? So that means if I had a customer come in Friday at 5:30 and we close at 6 and they wanted a car, we were staying there. We were spotting the car. You were treating it like it was the last day of the month. And we did. And we carried that the whole month, Sean. I mean, we carried that throughout the whole month, and it became kind of a running thing. They would come in and say, hey, it's Groundhog Day. And I said, yep, it's Groundhog Day. So it was it was kind of a wild, crazy, a feeling throughout the whole month, but it was positive. They were on board. They came in every day ready to go. And, and a lot of people that know me, I don't know where the month is. I don't know where the numbers are throughout the month. I have no idea if I'm at 100, if I'm at 50 or 20. I have no idea. The reason why I don't pay attention to the numbers is I don't want the number to influence what I'm doing with that next person.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that's huge. I mean, that's huge because, the problem is our industry teaches us to hit this certain number, you got to get to 15, you got to get to 30. And people are driven by that, but they're not paying attention that's probably affecting their sales. That's probably affecting, their performance because they're so worried about the number. So if I'm looking at a customer sitting in front of me and say, man, I got to sell this guy so I can hit 15, then that's why I'm trying to sell the guy a car. I'm forgetting I just need to help this person. And then the numbers will fall where they may. And I don't like even December 2002 or any month, I didn't know that I even hit that number. I knew it was a busy month, and I knew it was one of the top months I was going to have, but I had no idea it was going to be a record-breaking month. I wasn't chasing that.
That's absolutely crazy. So how did the dealership, your network of friends, the community, how did people react when you broke the record and you sold more units than any human being ever in a 30-day period?
The dealership was very positive. Dealership absolutely loved it, and they know, even managers, they don't come up to me. They knew where the numbers were throughout the month. But it's kind of like a pitcher hitting, pitching a no hitter. Nobody comes up to them and tell them, "Hey, you're hitting a no hitter." So
Right.
they know. I don't want to know, and I even tell them I don't want Mirna, my assistant, to know either. So I don't want anybody to know kind of where we're at, because again, I don't want that to influence what we're doing. But they kind of knew throughout the whole month, so they kind of just stayed away and just made sure that I had what I needed. But it was very positive, man. They were all excited. That whole sense of urgency with the last day of the month that carried throughout the whole dealership. The culture of the dealership, it kind of just like carried on throughout the whole dealership, and everybody started using it. And we had a pretty solid month, needless to say, in December for the whole dealership. And that sense of urgency is not something that we need to do on the last day of the month. That sense of urgency is not something that we should be feeling the last day of the year. I mean, that you should be feeling throughout the whole year, every single day you go into work. You got to have that. You got to have that in your heart and your mind and your body and your soul, and all of that's got to have that sense of urgency where I'm coming in there and, I'm there for a reason. And a lot of people just procrastinate. They procrastinate. They're like, oh, well, this person might come back, or this person's waiting for, this blue color car that really doesn't exist. And they don't have that sense of urgency, and they end up losing deals because they're not focused. So, I mean, you should always have that.
Okay, I got a whole list of questions for you. I want to start. We're not going to keep it here, but I want to definitely talk about this. Is the money, okay? And I know that I've heard that you are very secretive, which I respect, but I would like to get some ranges because it's important. I know throughout my career, I've interviewed automotive professionals that make different revenue. So, for example, there's a guy named Greg Jones from SAPA, which is Chevy Cadillac, by the way, right outside of St. Louis. This gentleman does about 45, 50 units. He generates $350,000 a year in personal income, but he's a multi-millionaire on the showroom floor. He's taken that money and he's invested it. Frank Critty, who we both know and we're both very fond of, I know that he makes over $700,000 a year on the showroom floor, but he sells a lot of used cars, he says. My question for you is this. Have you ever, or do you make at least $1 million a year from that? I'm not asking all your other investments, just from like the income from the dealership, bonuses, OEM spins. Have you broken 1 million in a year?
Sure. So the reason why I really never kind of talk about it is I don't ever want it to get back out to my customers to say that it's about money, because it never is. Now, the money obviously is the reason we all show up to work, and means of living, and obviously that's a great big part of our industry and dealerships and everybody. So I will say this: 7 figures is positively 100% attainable in our business, and it has been done.
Perfect. So I can read between the lines. Now, next question then is OEM spins. I'm just curious, because I'm getting you questions that I get all the time from my clients.
Oh, this is perfect. Yeah.
So the OEM spins at that level, if you're selling 200 cars in a month, can you estimate what the OEM spins would be for anybody that does 200 cars? So I'm not saying just you, anybody that says, because you said like 95 or 99% of your vehicles are new car sales. So what would the OEM spends be for a 200 car month? I'm just curious.
Oh, well, you're averaging about 200 a car from the manufacturer. Yeah. Okay, so you're getting, so what happened is this year they changed it, depending on if it's Chevy or Cadillac. It was up to, I believe, 225. They cut it back to 150 for Chevy and 200 for Cadillac, or maybe 225 for Cadillac. So those are the two brands that I have. So you should be, on the 202, it should average 175 or something.
So for the people that can't
car.
do math that quick and on the podcast, we're talking about 40,000 in 1 month just from OEM spins, theoretically speaking, of course. And then I know that's not the consistency for the whole month. For the whole year. But my math is 250 to 300, which was my original estimate too, by the way, a year on OEM spins.
That's on OEM spins, yeah, that's about right. So it's about right there. Now that takes us back to another thing. So is 6 figures attainable in 1 month in our industry?
Ooh,
and the answer to that is yes.
That's what I thought. So that is insane, brother. So
So
again, these numbers are just insane. So again, for an individual sales professional, not a car salesman, not a car consultant, not an auto consultant, a professional. So
yeah,
an automotive professional can achieve 6 figures in 1 month, 7 figures in a year. Absolutely. Now, my question is this:
yeah,
what should you? You are qualified, in my opinion, to say to a salesperson that's starting to get them big ass like checks, right?
yeah,
What do you advise that they could invest in? Like, so I'm making money, I'm on the showroom floor, whether I'm a brand new 20 car a month person, I just hit 40 or 50 for my first month. What is your advice? How do they invest their money? And I know, disclaimer, you're not a financial consultant, not a
sure,
lawyer, not
sure,
an attorney.
sure.
I'm just asking your opinion on just, things that you invested in with that were stupid, things that you invested in that were really good.
I mean, you first thing you got to get an amazing accountant, because when you start making that kind of money, I mean, you know what the taxes are like and these 1099s and that. So make sure you hook up with the right accountant. And then you should probably, my suggestion would be, and what I do, I guess, and it's worked for me, is anything in real estate is probably where you should be looking at. And it's a lot of people, why they fail in investing money, Sean, is they want instant gratification. They
Yes.
want to buy that place and then think that it's worth 100,000 more the next month. You got to be able to buy these places. I have apartment complexes. I have, homes that I have. So, I invest in these things, and they're only going up in value. So
Right.
if you invest in these places, and they're running themselves and they're paying for themselves, and you're using some of your money, then that's a retirement plan. That's at the end. You wake up 20 years later and you got these multi-million-dollar places that are still going to be standing. So that's where probably I would start at, some kind of real estate. I'd hook up with the local realtor that's maybe a top realtor in your industry, in your community, and hook up with a person and say, hey, listen, I'm going to be buying these places over time, and if you get something that's that's worth it, they'll contact you. They'll give you a call, and then I'd hook up with
Can you
somebody
give some
that's there.
recommendations? Because obviously Cardone is really big, and that's how Cardone, he was in automotive, then he went to real estate, went back to automotive. Now he's taken over Tony Robbins' job, and I love him.
Yeah.
And so
Yep.
real estate is great. And Cardone talks about multifamily, houses or homes or units versus, just like an individual. Me and my wife, we have the Bradley Property Management. We have a real estate portfolio too, but
Yep.
we haven't ever dived into like an apartment complex or a multifamily. You said you've done that. How's your experience with that?
That's really good, man. You don't have to go out. You don't have to go out and buy a 20 unit place. I mean, you can go out and buy like a 6 unit, or a 10 unit, something that's not going to be as expensive to run. And we don't have time to run these places, so you got to get a management company to do it. You're getting other people to work your money for you. So you start out small. I'm not saying go buy $1 million place. You could find some of these places for, I mean, I bought a place at a tax auction for, I want to say, 40 or 50,000,
Wow.
and held it for 3 years, and then sold it for, I think it was like 280 or something. So you know
That's what I'm talking about. So for the people that's not doing math well, you subtract the 50,000 he paid for it. That leaves you with about 330,000. Which, if you divide that by 3 years, that's over $100,000 a year from doing nothing.
Okay,
but
so
those are
wait,
the
you said
things you want to look
tax.
at.
You said you tax what?
These tax auctions,
Okay,
these
so
these
talk about that. I know
forfeiture.
there, but explain to the people what those are.
Yeah. So either once or twice a year, a county will run a tax auction where people didn't pay their taxes and they foreclose on their properties. You can get homes, you can get apartment complexes, you can get uh, those storefronts, complexes. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can look at. So you got to do a little bit of research, a little bit of homework, but you get these things on pennies. You get pennies on the dollar. So you're buying these establishments for 40, 50, $60,000. And then some of them are run down, some of them are not operated. I bought a place one time where only 2 units were rented out. Nobody's going to do it for you. If you want to get out there and you want to buy some of these places, I mean, you got to get out there, do a little bit of homework, and but they're profitable, man. Any multi-billionaire, millionaire in the country is into real estate.
Right.
I mean, any of these guys. You look at any of the big names in our country. I mean, it's all about real estate. So why not focus on that?
How did you get into real estate? What was your influence for that?
Uh, you know, I think it was the first time I bought a house. First time I bought a house, man, this is kind of crazy. And I looked at it when I don't remember how young I was. I was probably early 20s. And I bought a house and I looked at, what I was paying, and I had a mortgage. So I'm looking at it in 6 months. I looked at the mortgage and I was like, holy crap, I'm paying all this interest and nothing is coming off on the price of the house. And by then I wasn't knowledgeable in mortgages and terms. And so somebody had stuck me in a 30-year mortgage. And, I looked at it, I'm like, this is not going to work. I mean, this is horrible. I think I spent $150,000 on the house. And I was like, shit, I'm going to be 50 years old by the time I pay this place off. So I figured that was not going to work. So, I took action right away. I looked at it and I said, well, I got to redo this. And I read some stuff on it and ended up refinancing it for 10 years rather than 30 years. It cost me a little bit more money, but it's not what it cost me. It's what it saved me.
Right.
So by the time I had that house paid off, I think I had that house paid off in like 7 or 8 years. I started doubling up on payments.
Yes.
So now, instead of looking at 30 years where I would have spent 300 and some thousand, I was done in 7 years. And then I had a house that I was sitting on that was worth 200,000 and it was paid for.
Right.
In my 20s. So that's when I realized, I'm like, wow, this can work this way. So, anybody that's getting themselves into the mortgage, well, let me say this. In our industry, Sean, the managers always said, we need to get this guy to go out and buy something so he can be hungry. We got to go get him a high expensive car so he can be hungry. The problem with that is you start selling scared. You start selling that I have to pay this mortgage, so I have to go sell. What I would like people to see is to be debt free.
Yes.
So then if you're debt free, then you're not selling scared, and then your job becomes a lot easier, and then you're able to invest more money as you go down the road. And that's basically kind of where I was. I didn't have to sell a car to pay my mortgage because I didn't have a mortgage. So once you get to that point, and that's what we should all get to. It's quite the opposite of what you used to say back in the 70s. Is you got to become debt free as a salesman. The quicker you that, I know, Frank is in that boat, and a lot of these high achievers are in that boat because we're not worried about that. We're not worried about that next sale. So,
okay, what about I believe in everything you just said. I concur. Now, what about sales professionals investing in themselves, in their own website, marketing, advertising, branding, building their business, and also in education, information, that type of stuff? How important is it for them to, allocate some of the revenue in professional and personal development?
oh man, if you're not educating yourself now with the way things are so easy at your fingertips, if in the Millionaire Sales Club and all these other sites that you have, if you're not out there educating yourself and learning from these things, something is wrong. It's free, it's easy. You should start there, and then some of these upgraded, reading these books. There's so many books, and there's so many things going on, Sean, that I don't understand why people think that they don't have time to educate themselves. And if they're not doing it, they're definitely not going to succeed. You got to spend a little bit of money. You got to go to some of these, what do you call it? Those conferences.
Yeah.
You got to go to those. There's so much being taught out there that, I look at all that stuff, a lot of the stuff that you do every single day on your Facebook page. Unbelievable. That stuff is not, nobody should take that for granted. That's gold. So, I listen to a lot of that stuff, and I'm just continuing to learn myself. Every day I'm learning. Every day I pick up on something. And I look at guys like Frank, pick up things on him, and people should pick up a couple things on myself that I do. And, it's huge. You got to invest in yourself.
I think learning is really important. Like you said, you're still learning from other people. You could learn what not to do from other people too. I constantly I'm always learning. I go to workshops outside the automotive industry, in the automotive industry, because the second I believe that we think that we know everything is, when we are like Toys R Us or Blockbuster.
Yep, absolutely. And you know what, you hit on the head, man. I tell a lot of people this too, is and I do it again. I do this with my kids. Learning what not to do is just as important as learning what to do. And
Amen.
People just don't pick up on that. Look at as kids, what have our parents told us our whole life? Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, in hopes of us becoming into this molded good person, right? It's the same thing in sales. So when I when I go out and I buy something, let's say I'm going out to buy a suit, and the sales rep is showing me things, and I'll pick up on things that I'm like, wow, that did not feel right when he said that, or wow, I can't believe he just did that. So I'll pick up on those things and make sure that I'm not duplicating those things. It's to the point, my son is 10 years old. It's to the point where my son picks up on it now. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, did you see what he just did? He just walked away. And I'm like, yeah. I'm glad you picked up on that because I did too. So those are the type of things that people should be paying attention to. When you go out and buy a TV, pay attention to how you're being treated. If you feel something is wrong, then it's wrong, and make sure you're not doing the same thing as a salesman. So picking up on things, what not to do, is probably going to be more important than things to do.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
I'm going to share with you my recent shopping experience on a vehicle in a couple of minutes. But I want to digress and go back to just some of the basics because, again, I wanted to hit them hard with this amazing information that you're sharing here. But I want to go through some basics for the newbies that just got into the industry. And it's like, can you imagine, somebody that just, I'm not a fan, obviously, of the Patriots. I'm a diehard Eagles. But can you imagine somebody that just joins the team and just gets recruited to the team, and this is a multi-Super Bowl champion team, and they see the quarterback or whatever, like that's how it's got to be when somebody is brand new and they work at your dealership, like the human being that's the best in the world that's ever did it, that's their coworker, you know what I mean? But don't forget those people. So let's go through this. Let's go through some. These might be like really basics or remedial, but I want to cover them real quick here.
Sure.
What's your advice to a new hire? Like, whether it's mindset or even skill set, like, you just talked to my daughter. I haven't spoken to her about your conversation, but my daughter is 19 years old. She just started training at a dealership. She's been training actually for about a month. They're really spending a lot of time with her, and she's about to hit the floor. So what would you say to my daughter? What did you say to my daughter? What would you say to anybody that's new? What advice would you give if your son was going to start selling cars on the floor?
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I had a great conversation with her. And one of the things I touched on was believing in yourself, believing in what you have to offer, believing in your product. First of all, people want to come into this industry and they want to automatically come up with this logo or slogan of themselves. I don't believe in them doing that immediately. I believe that they need to come in, they need to get familiar with the product, they need to get familiar with one of the most important things that the dealership has to offer is the CRM tool.
Yes.
A lot of people just dismiss that completely, and they're like, "Well, it's extra work." Well, it's there for a reason. If you don't learn that system, then you're gonna fail. It's there for a reason. So you need to learn that system, and then you need to reach out to people that know you already. Why are we going in there? We're sitting at the desk and we're waiting for these dealer-driven opportunities to come in, and they're sitting there, and all they're doing is waiting and waiting and waiting for somebody that may or may not show up, and they're not reaching out to their own book of business. They're not reaching out to their own people that know them. So for the first couple months, I encourage these young guys, man, just to reach out to everybody you know, and you're not soliciting business. Don't reach out and say, "I want to sell you a car." Just reach out and say, "Hey, I'm Ali. I started at this dealership. Just wanted you to know I'm here if you need me. Here's where I'm at." And that's it. And just keep it simple. Don't solicit business. People are not going to be pressured to come see you because you don't even know the product yet. You don't know the business yet.
Right.
So you got to kind of slow down, pay attention, be aware of your surroundings, learn the process of the dealerships.
Wait a minute, Ali, let's go back to that. Let's just go back.
Yep.
So let's flesh this out because this is what I train on too. But I love that you're saying the same thing I believe in. So let's just say, like for my daughter, she should be, sending out like awareness emails, social media posts, DMs, whatever, text messages to all of her family, all of her friends, people that she graduated high school with, people that, that she's in college with. All those people, and let them also to tell their people, like their friends or their relatives, that if they need anything whatsoever, that she's there. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, because those are high percentage sales. Don't forget, those sales are 70, 80% versus somebody walking in at 10 to 20%.
Yes.
Why would you not focus your time on a person that was going to be an 80% chance you're going to sell them something? And instead of just waiting. So especially these young people, man, they are so good on social media. They are fast. I mean, they know every single site. They know how to get on Twitter and Instagram and all these other sites and Facebook. And I mean, utilize that. That's a strength. Don't take that for granted.
Can we play me and you back and forth? I'm gonna play.
Yeah.
Tag me in, coach, because I'm gonna give you some love too. So here's what I train on, and you could use this, or you could pass this along to your new hires at your organization. Is that because you're exactly what you just said? There's so much access to information. I'll give you an example, like your cell phone. You can export all your contacts in your cell phone into like a spreadsheet or CSV file, or back it up to iCloud or to Gmail or whatever. All your Gmail, for example, or your Outlook, you could export that stuff. So now just think about every contact in someone's cell phone, like a new hire, every contact in their Gmail or their Outlook or their Yahoo or whatever it is. Then if they're on LinkedIn, you can export. Not all social media lets you export, but if you take all of that data, remember, not one dealership data yet, this is all your personal stuff for being, 18, 19, 20, 30, 40 years old that you've required, in your life up to this point. Then you could basically put that all into a database, whether you get like a constant contact or you get a CRM like Zoho or Sugar CRM or Salesforce. If you buy an individual one, and I recommend this for a salesperson, it's like $12 on Zoho. And once you have all that data in there, I mean, it's game on. Can you imagine having your own personal CRM for $12 a month, which is not my company, by the way, it's Zoho, which is like a Salesforce. And then some of these tools integrate with text messaging, social media, et cetera. So now once you have all of your contacts that are organized, deduped, et cetera, that are in one place, then you could text message from there, you could email from there, you could social media DM from there. And that's how your idea that you just started with, I agree 1000%, but that's how in 2019, salespeople or whomever, they could actually harness their own stuff and put it into an automated and organized process. What do you think about that, Ali?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That is awesome. And I use Constant Contact myself too. And, I send out, newsletters to people. I mean, I'm constantly trying to stay in contact with people. And the amount of customers that I have, the customer database that I have is huge. So I got to try to stay engaged with all those people.
What's
my issue, OpLogic.
Okay.
Yep. So for me, it's not so much that I'm trying to reach out to new customers. I don't at this point in my career, I'm not looking for new customers, although of course they're always welcome, but I'm trying to maintain what I have.
Right.
So I have to look at things a little bit differently, and I just need to maintain the customer base that I have and make sure they're happy and make sure they keep coming back. And of course, I'm still engaging in my community to earn new business, but I'm earning business with people that know who I am at this point. I'm not trying to earn business with people that don't know me. So it's just because I'm at a different point in my career and a different point in my life right now. But early on, you want to engage with everybody. I mean, you want to get out there. Yeah, you touch on that.
Yeah, I want to build on this for you and for the audience too. You also said something that's really powerful, CRM. I think you see all the stuff that I'm doing on CRM. I am huge advocate for CRM. I've been immersed in automotive CRM for 20 straight years, like literally. And what I find is that 90% of dealerships CRMs are not set up the right way. 90%, this is a fact. And I don't know if you know this, but I have approximately 100 active paying VIN Solutions clients that are on like my program, in addition to all of my dealer socket e-leads and all the other CRM clients on there. What I've learned is, and follow me, there's two big things I want to give to you and to the people listening to this podcast is one, customer relationship management. And it's not just a lead management tool, it's customer relationships. It is designed to cultivate, enhance, perpetuate relationships and manage relationships. And most dealerships and individual sales professionals do not utilize it on a relationship level. And I'm going to go into what that means in a second. The other thing is this, Ali, and I don't know if anybody's ever in your career even shared this with you, is that I am firmly passionate about articulating there needs to be a dual tandem strategy for CRM. For example, your dealership has a responsibility, in my opinion, to itself, to its prospects and clients, to have a macro strategy for CRM where they are going to create a CRM, process for every situation, but that's automated and manual. However, there needs to be a completely separate but tandem individual prospect customer strategy that is the sole responsibility of the salesperson. Here's what I mean. Because if I was let's say I'm going to make up a name. Let's just say I'm talking to Tina, and Tina's Jewish, and she brought that up, to me in conversation, somehow like she's celebrating this holiday or whatever. I normally wouldn't or couldn't just blanket out a bunch of Happy Hanukkah, cards or emails or text messages. But I firmly believe that if somebody opens something up to them that's important, whether it's a birthday, anniversary, a religious holiday, a hobby, whatever it is my responsibility as a thorough professional to be able to acknowledge that and deposit into that emotional bank account, metaphorically speaking. And so if you think about it, if salespeople aren't trained and conditioned to do that, when they are qualifying the prospect, as they're identifying not only the vehicle's wants, wishes, but they're actually understanding the person, their situation, their life, their interests, etc., they can customize those variables into the CRM. So there should be dual strategies or activities that are fired. Now, for you, this is like based on what I just heard. Like I'm freestyling with you. What you just said, I concur. Your strategy's got to be different from biz dev to client retention. And so my question is, are you really like utilizing technology, Ali? Because you could set up your CRM, any CRM, with a bunch of templates that don't look like templates. Whether they're high-level videos that are motion graphics, animation, they're thank yous. I mean, like if you think about this, all the holidays that are generic, from Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, then birthdays, and all these other things, you could set them up to trigger based on whatever variables you program in the CRM. So if it was me that had a clientele base like you're like a dealership. But the difference is that you should be able to get to know your people. And as long as you program the data, birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, certain things, the CRM is like having a backup team of assistants. Has anybody ever taught you that or talked to you about that?
No, that's gold, man. That is gold. That is outstanding because that's basically the point where I'm at in my life, where I just need to reach out to them for those things.
Yes.
And as good as we are and as much as we do, I mean, without a CRM tool, we can't do that.
Yes,
we cannot do that. I mean, we need that, but that is gold, man. That is absolutely outstanding. You know where that starts, though. That starts with gathering the information.
Yes.
And like you said, being aware of your customer. A lot of people, a lot of salespeople just are not aware of the customer sitting in front of them.
Oh my gosh.
They're which is huge. They're not aware of where they came from. They don't care where they're going. They don't care who's in their life. If you don't care about that stuff, how are you going to build a relationship with somebody? So that's huge. And I gather all that information because I'm aware of that person in front of me. I know where they came from. I know where they're going. I know exactly where they're going. I know how many kids they have. I know where they work. I know how far they drive to work.
Ali,
I
watch
know,
this. Can you write this down?
Huge.
I want you to write something down real quick, if you can.
Yeah.
All right. So if you go to YouTube and type in "Happy Birthday Castle Chevy," so this is a dealer group client of mine in Chicago, and we created a video. It's beautiful. I had the internet department. There was like I don't know, 8 or 10 of them there. Actually, go buy a cake. Right. Go buy a cake. Okay. And get decorations, and then with like high level HD video production equipment, we recorded like hey, this is Castle Chevy. We wanted to just wish you a very happy birthday, and they all said happy birthday, and then the motion graphics came in. But here's how cool this is, man. With technology, what you're able to do is you can embed that as an email template, and so you don't have to say the person's name, Ali, in the video. Because follow me, think of your CRM. When you send a CRM, whether it's automated template or it's a manual, it's in text format. So try to imagine if you had a regular like text email template that's automatic. It's the same concept, but what you're doing is you're embedding the HTML link in there. So follow me. So it might say something like this. You might get an email from Vin Solutions or ABC CRM tool, right? And it says, hey, Ali, we know today's your special day. Click this link. And when you click it, it opens up to this beautiful animated high-level video. And so it's redundant for you to say in the video, hey, Ali. So what that enables you to do is invest time or money or whatever it is in creating some awesome, content that's professionally produced that you can deploy on an automated basis. That's what people are not even close to doing, I think in our industry collectively, is basically playing chess. Can you imagine graduations because it's not a dealership, it's you. You could say, hey, this is Ali. I just or you don't have to say it's inferred. They know who you are. Hey, I just want I know that today's a special day. It's your birthday, so I just want to wish you happy birthday. Or you could say something like, hey, I just wanted you to know that I didn't forget today's your anniversary, and you guys are the cutest couple in the world. I mean, Ali, can you imagine
Oh,
the
gold,
emotional
gold,
equity? Yes,
absolutely
because
gold.
like to me, like a regular bank account, you have to turn around and deposit in the bank account, Ali, if you ever want to
Yep.
withdraw $1,000 or $10,000. Well, that's the same thing with people. You have to deposit into their emotional bank account if you ever, can expect to withdraw. It shouldn't just be calling them, which I know you don't do, but other salespeople do, is just call them pump them for referrals or sales or when their lease is about to be up. But it's about being
Yep.
altruistic, about caring and loving, which is I know what
Throughout the whole
Damien, what
process.
Damien
Yeah,
Damien preaches,
absolutely.
and I
Yep.
concur. It's about loving your people, being genuine, but you're only human and you are superhuman. Don't get me wrong, you're metahuman,
It,
metaphorically speaking, but
but
you can use the CRM, brother,
you
to
need
turn
that.
around and
Yeah.
put that in.
Yeah, you need that. I mean, absolutely, because you can only do so much throughout the day. I mean, I can't pick up my phone and just start calling people. I mean, there's just too many people utilizing those kind of tools is unbelievable. I mean, that's gold. That's gold, Sean. The thing is a lot of people, a lot of salespeople just don't do it.
Yeah, it's
They
crazy.
just don't get out there and do it. They don't take advantage of those tools. They expect a lot of these things to be done for them. And people always ask me, say, how do hey, I got to do the work. Your mother's not going to do it for you. Nobody's going to do it for you. So if you don't show up there and you don't show up with that mindset that, hey, I got to do this for myself. Salespeople cannot see 5 years down the road. So it's hard for them to put this work into something that they're going to reap the benefits later in their career. They again, they want instant gratification. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to get instant gratification. You're planting the seed, right? Like you say, you're depositing so later on you can withdraw. You got to be able to have a 5 year plan. You got to be able to have a 10-year plan. You got to say, in my career, I want to be here in 5 years. Stop thinking you're going to sell 30 this month just because the guy next to you did it. You got to earn that. You got to get there. And people just don't do it. They just feel like there's it's better on the other side, or whatever reasons they have, they sabotage their own career because they just are not patient enough to be able to realize that this is a career, not a job.
Yeah, see, talk about that really quickly because I totally believe in seed time harvest. And one of the things that when people get into car sales, it's like, all right, well, this is just something I'm going to do for 6 months, for a year, until I find something better. And then, you find yourself here 5, 10 years later. And because of that simple fact, you didn't put the energy into planting seeds. How should a person adjust their mindset to say, you know what, I need to put this energy into basically building a list, right? Building a entire customer base in the very beginning, no matter where I'm going, because it could follow you. Is that right?
Yeah, it's going to follow you. Look what happens, LA. A lot of times, early on in my career, I'd go to these charity events, and I'd show up at a charity event. And there's 2,000 people there, and I would go there, and I'd get nothing from it. I'd literally go there. I'd say hello to a few people. I would think I'm going to get a sale out of it. I'd get nothing. I'd show up the next time to the same charity event. I'd get nothing out of it. So I realized, but more people had known me the second time than the first time. So I realized, I said, I'm not going to go there and expect to get 3 or 4 sales out of this charity event. But what I am gaining is friends. I'm gaining some friendships. And eventually, over time, you got to be able to say, I got to show up here maybe 10 times before people start to know who I am. And then sales will start coming in just based on the fact that I earned friendship. You can't go to these places soliciting business. You can't go there with the intent in your mind that I'm going to go there and I'm going to sell everybody in this place a car. No, you're going there to build relationships. You're going there to build a friend. You're going there for that reason only. And then over time, people are going to get familiar with what you do. And people are going to come up to you and start. Now I go to a charity event. They come up to me and ask me about deals. They come to me and ask me about what cars are hot and what's going on in my life and what's going on in my industry. So that comes over time.
Huge.
You can't gain that. Yeah, you can't gain that. It took me maybe 10 years to get people to realize that, hey, this is what he does and he's good at what he does. And this is the person, the go-to person. And now I show up to a charity event and it's completely different than I did initially. But I just kept showing up. I kept going and I kept going. I didn't give up. And a lot of people go to 2, 3 of them and they say it's a waste of time. And then they give up. And that's where it ends.
So I just heard you say it takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
I mean, yeah, you got to have that plan. Like you said, you got to have a 5-year plan. So if I didn't have that vision to say, hey, in my career, when I get to this point, this is where I want to be. And it wasn't 6 months from then, it was a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan or whatever it was. When I first got, everybody, when they first get hired into our industry, they get sold on, you can make $100,000 a year. Right? I mean, that's what people sell you on. Every single manager in the country says, you come in for an interview, they're going to say, oh, you can make $100,000 a year. Well, what if I told you you can make that in a month? So that's the mindset. That's the shift. That's the thought process. That's the belief system. That's what you have to believe in. And it's not instant gratification.
Okay, so then where do you start? Let's walk me through this right here. So I just got into the automotive industry. Let's say you are a national trainer, and your responsibility is to get somebody trained. What should they first learn how to do? Take me through the first 3 weeks of a new hire.
All right, this is good. I'm going to tell you why, Sean. You guys haven't heard this yet. So I personally just hired a salesman, right? Right? No, nobody. I mean, this literally happened 2 weeks ago. So I hired a salesman that is going to be working under me, but it doesn't count for my sales. He's his own salesman, but I am going to be his immediate mentor, basically. So I am going to be his manager. He's coming to me to desk deals. He's coming to me for everything. So this is something new in the industry, right? So this is where I'm at in my life, where I feel like I can maybe pass this on. He is going to be kind of, maybe not the guinea pig, but maybe there's a better word for it. But he's going to be kind of what I would expect salespeople to do when they first start out in the business. This guy's never sold cars. He's owned his own pool company, and he's probably in his late 30s. And he wanted something different, and I kind of believe in this guy, and I feel like I can take him to that next level. So now what you're asking me is exactly what I'm doing with this person. So his name is Carlos, and I got him in there a couple weeks ago. And what I did initially is I wanted him to learn the process of the dealership and dealership lingo. So that means that just because you and I know what APR means or what appraisal means does not mean that they know that.
Right.
So baby steps. So I got him learning all of that stuff, dealership process, where the office is. I said a couple of weeks, I just want you to get used to and familiar with the dealership. Then I had him exactly what we just talked about. I had him reach out to every single person that he knows, social media, personally, all the restaurants that he goes to, all the establishments that he shops at. I have him going to every single one of those places just to let them know what he's doing. I'm not having him go in there saying, I want to sell you a car. So this is the first couple weeks. So I am actually learning as I go, but this is what I would suggest for people to do. Just get yourself out there. If you're in a community where people know who you are, just let them know what you're doing. Get people familiar with that. Learn the CRM tool, man. Master the CRM tool, because that's, young people, it's easy for them to get that. Guys like me that haven't been around it for a long time, maybe I'm a little bit slower. But these young kids, man, they're masters at that, Sean. You see them. Right. You see them when you go in dealerships. So with Carlos, that's exactly what I'm doing. And then the process of what he needs to, when he's talking to a customer, I want him to gather as much information as possible.
Okay,
and remember, let's go through never sold cars.
Yeah, let's go through this. I don't know if Tiana told you, but I actually had the honor of taking her for a full day out of state to one of my clients and to do a full-blown training with her. It was pretty much for her, but I used my client as a Hollywood studio set, so to speak, and they had about 20 of their new hires there, so it was pretty fun. And I spent a lot of time qualifying. So if we can we role play for just a minute or two?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going live. So you just not one of your referrals or what have you, or one of your referrals, it doesn't matter. Let's say I just walked into your dealership, and I guess the only way that would happen is if I was referred by somebody. So let's just say I sat down at your desk. Please explain your Ali Reda qualifying process.
Ooh, yeah. This is going to be good. Let's go into this role play. Hey, Ali, let me introduce you to my brother. He's looking for a new vehicle, possibly a Cadillac XT4 or something like that. Let me introduce you to Sean Bradley. This is Sean.
Hey, Ali. Yes, I heard a lot of great things from LA about you. I'm interested in a car.
Hey, Sean, how you doing, buddy? How's everything?
I'm pretty good.
Good. Yeah. So, was there any specific vehicle you were looking at? Was it the XT4? Are you familiar with that car, or did you already drive it somewhere?
No, here's the situation, and I can't even make this stuff up. So we have a 2016 Chrysler Town and Country touring right now, but I hate it. We had it because we had a baby, and now the baby's 5 years old. So I could get rid of my daddy minivan wheels, so to speak. So I need something that's an SUV. I don't necessarily need a third row seat, but I'm open.
Okay, good. And that car that you have now, was that a lease or was that a purchase?
That was a lease, but I don't
That was a
know
lease. Okay.
if I want to purchase, but I definitely want a new one. I don't want anybody's
Okay.
problems.
Yeah, no problem. I agree with that as well. How far do you drive from work?
Probably about 25, 30 minutes.
25, 30 minutes. Okay. All right. So yeah, you're perfect. I think leasing would be a great option for you. Now, the XT4 may be a little bit small for you. I understand you only have one child right now, but the back seats are pretty small on that. So you're going to have a hard time getting a car seat in there. So I would rather show you the XT4 and an XT5, which I think may be a little bit better fit for you. But we'll look at both of those vehicles to kind of see what you feel. And we'll look at some leasing options. I'm going to give you a couple options as far as the mileage. It sounds like maybe 12,000 is enough, but I think we should probably go to 15,000 just to be safe. And we'll go over. Do you have a certain budget that you're trying to stay at?
Oh yeah, obviously as little as possible. I'm trying to be like right now. I'm approximately like a little bit less than $500 a month. Is that realistic on this, or can I save money?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We'll make sure we put you in the right position. And then, you're familiar with leasing as far as what you have to put down, your first payment, your plate transfer, taxes, etc. You're okay with that?
No, I don't want to put any money down.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to do a zero down lease, but what's required is still your first month payment, your taxes, etc. So it's only about $800 or so. So we'll go from there, and then we'll figure something out from there.
Okay.
So okay, from there, then obviously now we're showing you the car, and we're going over the features to make sure that car's fit for you. I got to be aware of one, you have one child, and if that car does not fit your needs and your family needs, Sean, then we got to make sure that I'm putting you in the right car. If I spent my whole day showing you an XT4 and I know that car is not fit for you, then I just wasted a bunch of time on a car that's not going to fit. Again, I got to know where you're going. So if I know you have one child and I know that potentially you might have more children, then I know that you're going to outgrow that car in the next 6 months or a year. And then I'm going to have a problem, trying to get you out of that car. So it's just gathering as much information as you can. I mean, that's basically what it is. Now, I know, role playing and being live are a little bit two different things, but
right.
It's just the idea of just gathering that information, and of course it might even be, a little bit more personable. I might even ask, what your child's name is and your wife's name and, what city you live in and what city you work in. So it might be a little bit more into detail.
Couple questions, Ali. What about like trial closes that you use? Do you personally recommend, or do you use things like, can you see yourself driving this vehicle home, or can you picture this vehicle in the driveway? Some of these things, like I personally felt they're kind of corny from back in the day, but some of them, are good qualifying / trial close statements, questions. Like, what is your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that I have a specific trial close. I think every customer is a little bit different.
I'd agree.
I can't emphasize enough just gathering as much information as possible. Just again, do you plan on having more kids, Sean? Asking you that kind of question.
Wait a minute, Ali, then I would agree, because the time on here, we've taken a ton of your time. Question for you: what about closing? Let's say they've, whether you went on the test drive or not, but like after you presented the vehicle, you feel it's the right vehicle, they kind of like the vehicle. How do you go for the close? Do you have at least closing statements? Like, are you willing to take this car today, or what does Ali Reda use to close?
So throughout the process, I'm making sure that we're on the right vehicle. So throughout the process, I'm saying, does this look fine to you? So I'm getting them in the habit of saying yes. So does everything look fine? So far, are you comfortable with everything? So far, does everything make sense? If something doesn't make sense, please let me know. So that way, if something throughout that process doesn't make sense to them, then you know that you got a problem right there. So if you get them to say yes throughout that whole process, by the time you're ready to ask for the closer, by the time you're saying, okay, and mine is simply, do you want to take this home today or you want to come back tomorrow to pick it up? So
okay, so that's
I'm not
yours right
giving
there.
them.
Are you
Yeah.
do you want to take this home today or do you want to come tomorrow to pick it up? Okay.
Yeah.
And let's just say, well, wait a minute. And how do you present the number? I know this might be like a little bit beforehand, but
Yeah.
this is one of the contentions that I find. What salespeople are nervous about is when they discuss the numbers, again, when they get the first pencil and yours is a little bit different because you do everything yourself. But for a salesperson, how do you advise them not to be scared about presenting the numbers and being able to talk to their people?
Yeah, and it goes to using your own vocabulary. So a lot of times, when you use word tracks, it's sometimes not going to come off personal. It's not going to be a word that you normally use, so it's not going to sound convincing. I would definitely, asking all the questions, all the right questions at the beginning is going to make you feel a little bit more comfortable. So again, I asked you what your payment was, and you told me 500. So if you told me your payment was 500, and I already know that, and your payment now is going to come in at 600, it's reasonable. So it's easier for me to present that $600 payment of you saying that you were comfortable at 500. If you told me it was 150 and you're asking me for a Cadillac, then I got to address that immediately and say, well,
Right.
Cadillac's going to be in the $500 range. Are you comfortable with that? And if you said, oh, no, I can't do that, then I know immediately I need to stop and not waste time going back and forth. And then there's a bunch of no's in there. Now there's a bunch of no's. Now I'm taking things away that I'm taking your hopes and dreams away from you. After I show you the car, a lot of people will go out there and show them a car that they're not even qualified to get.
Right. Ooh,
So
that's perfect.
It's just asking all the right questions at the beginning. And literally everybody's going to be different, but it's asking as many questions as you possibly can. And for me, just getting that information from a customer makes it easier for me to come back and say, okay, well, your payment's going to be $600, and well, you might say, well, I really want to be at 500. I say, I understand that, but the car you're looking at, with the options that you wanted, this is the price point that it's at. And I'm kind of firm with that. And again, you already sold them on the car. You showed them the car. You already know that that's the right car for them.
Right.
It becomes a little bit easier as you go. Now, for me, obviously, it's a little bit different than when new guys are coming in and you haven't presented these numbers to people before. A lot of people are down payment. Like you said, you don't want to put a down payment, and you said I don't want to put zero down. Well, then I can just turn it around and said, well, this is what's required.
I agree. Down payment is key to profitability in a car deal. We both know that, and so some people don't like it. And again, you didn't just take my one pushback. You bumped me for at least the first payment. The $800 down. And some people are like,
but then
so zero down.
Yeah, so some people just say zero. Oh, this guy doesn't have any money. Well, nobody comes into the dealership expecting to pay nothing. I mean, that's just
exactly.
That's if you believe that in your mind, then that's crazy. Now, if I came back and said, well, I know you want to be at 500, we're at 600. Well, if you put down a couple thousand more, then that can get you to the payment you really want it to be at. And then you would probably say, no, I don't want to put that down. I'd say, okay, well, this is where we're at. Basically the type of thing. So, I mean, it's just. But you got to know the customer you're sitting in front of too. Again, asking those questions.
Hey, Ali, you know what? I'm telling you, I have a brilliant idea for you. You have those magic 8 balls you could just shake and then would say yes or no. I need to make like an Ali Reda like cube or something like that and just shake that shit and then it gives me all the right answers. This has been an honor to be able.
Oh, man.
Can you believe it's been an hour? We've just been flowing.
No, I can't believe it. I know.
Did you enjoy yourself? I thoroughly enjoyed my interview with you, my friend.
I always do, Sean. I told Ellie yesterday that, man, you're a great interviewer. You ask the right questions, man, and you definitely care about salespeople, Sean. I mean, what you're doing is awesome, and you are helping so many people. And this is good. I mean, all this stuff, and again, back to educating yourself, and people need to listen to this stuff. And
here's what I'd like to do.
It's not that difficult.
and I'm going to put you on the spot since we're live on this, is that you've been so kind to jump on Zooms, on conversations with my clients over, like, it's been over like a year or two now that you've been helping me, just like, when I want to just, basically show people what's possible. I'm a big fan of you, Damien's, your book, and everything. And so with this new person you have, Carlos, I'm going to let you know again, I'm going to offer you my platform at no charge. And if you ever want to just set up a Zoom with me and Carlos, if you want to set up a Zoom with LA, the blind phone master, and Carlos, anything that we can do, just out of respect to you for who you are and what you do for the industry, it's our honor to be able to help you in any way possible, brother. I mean that.
That is awesome, man. That is absolutely awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm a huge fan of yours, and read some really cool stuff about LA also, and the stuff that he's done, man. That's another person that believes in something, and people should take that from really positive things from that. And yeah, man, that is an amazing offer, man.
All right, good. Then I'll follow with you, brother.
I love you, brother, man. You're so good.
You are too. Thank you, LA. You want to close this out?
Yeah, absolutely, man. This has been phenomenal. And man, I don't even want to edit this. I just want to kind of like put it out just the way it is. You guys were going back and forth and just really giving some super duper nuggets. So let's just close it out with a couple of key questions. Ali, I want to know, what is it that you love about the automotive industry?
The satisfaction of helping somebody, satisfaction of that single mother coming in with no hope to get a car and to figure out how to get her kids to school the next day, and then you're the one that helps. And you think people pouring out their life and their heart and soul in your office, if you think that's normal, you're crazy. That is not normal. That is something that is a gift that we have, and people do that for a reason. And I know I'm going in every single day to help somebody in some way, and that's what drives me. Wow. And I love what I do, and every day I go in is special to me, and I don't take it for granted, and I don't take my clients for granted. And man, I just absolutely love what I do.
That's beautiful, man. And because again, so many people think that the top car salesman is the guy that goes and gouge your eyes out and things like that. And to hear that from the absolute number one car salesman in the world, that's huge. So thank you so much for that. Yep. And man, this has been amazing.
Absolutely, buddy.
So
my pleasure, guys. Absolutely my pleasure.
Everyone listen, this has been the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast. So go out and do everything you can do. Go out and spend some time, plant some seeds, and your harvest shall be reaped as a millionaire car salesman. Thanks.
Well said.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like it, you love it, you want more of it, then don't wait for the next money show. Just go to bradleyondemand.com and take your career to the next level.